Give me 1 second. All right. Let me 1 second. Go like this. We are going to share it. One second. Setting everything up. Everything's got to be coordinated. You got a million platforms, and all of them seem to work great. I see that. Yeah. Never truthfully. Here. So I'm pasting this. I'm trying to share it with the other outlets, just like YouTube and the books of face, or the Facebook. Yeah, I think that's what they call it. So, long story short, what I'm doing in front of you is we're going to be trying this wonderful beer. Leffe is the Leffe Blond Blond. So we're going to try it together. You're going to watch me taste this beer. And live, and we're going to pair it against mine. So 1 second. All right, so here we go. So after that, well, welcome to the WestKoning Brew House, right? As you can see, I have a beer in front of me that is not a WestKoning. This beer is actually. Let's get the reverb. This beer is actually a Leffe. So I'm going to be doing a taste test of color, going through the gamut of aroma, color, taste, mouthfeel, and overall what this beer entails. And I'm going to be pairing it with a Belgian blonde ale that I have brewed myself. Pretty excited. So, are you guys ready for this? All right. Let me grab my opener here. We're going to open this bad boy up and see what. I haven't had this beer in a long time. I just remember it from being stationed in Germany. We used to go to the shop at the Tomb off base and get it all the time. So it's one of my top beers, just a regular classic blonde. It's a really good pour, I know. So all the haters out there. So this is coming down and simmering down. I'll go over that little thing. This is 6.6% alcohol. It's subtle notes of vanilla and cloves. So we'll see. Mine, I think, was a little bit different. Ooh, it's already clear. You can tell. Very nice and crisp. So I don't think mine's going to be that crisp and clear. I think mine's going to be a little bit darker too for a blonde. But here we go. Once again, a great pour, as you can see. Right to the lines. Well, right off the gate, you can see the clearness of the blonde of the Leffe Blond. Mine isn't quite up to snuff with that clearness. I could use some agents and try to fine it up And actually, look at that. It's a good step ahead. I like that. So right out the gate, we compare them side to side. We can see two things. Mine is very opaque, and this one's very clear, right? So right out the gate, the color is crystal clear. This is a clean looking beer. For a nice blonde, this is probably very, very good. So we're gonna hit this. I'm gonna give right away points to them. I think they nailed it. This is a good blonde. It's clean looking. It's crisp. I haven't even tasted it yet, but it looks like everything you want from a nice 6.6 ABV beer, right? So I'm gonna go ahead right off the color. This is gonna. I say this is a 5. Let's go 5. You know, so this is pretty much a blonde, Belgian blonde. It's a 5. Now color, mine is definitely blonde with a little dark hints. It's a little darker than normal blonde. The head is actually sticking around pretty well, but my biggest thing is it's not, as you can see, it's not that clear. This thing is not see-through at all. So this is, yeah, pretty interesting, but not bad. So, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and give this one, I mean, the appearance actually, they look pretty similar in the way that the head's kind of melting away. But I'm going to go ahead and give this the Panthera a 3. So let's get into smell. This is the Aroma. Let's go. Let's go. Just give it a nice little. It's got a nice little ale smell to it, with a little bit of that balance, right? But it's light. It looks super light to be normal, like Trappist Belgian. But yeah, you kind of smell the crispness in the beer. So I'm gonna give that. So there's a lot more going on with this one. This is not necessarily the straight ale crispness that you smell from this one. Like this, yeah, it smells like, all right, it's a beer. There's not much else. At least it has a good smell. But this one, it's got a little bit more spiciness to it. I would still label it as a 3 though. Like it has a smell. But it's not necessarily overpowering or super present. So I'm going to give that a 3 as well. So WestKoning is not quite doing head-to-head with a Leffe. So now heading into the taste. So this is the best part, or mouthfeel. Let's do mouthfeel, and then in taste. So let's do them both at the same time. Right? It's smooth, but it's not. It's a little bit heavier than you would imagine. Like this looks crisp. This looks like it could be anything from a Hefeweizen to a Stella or something. Like that's how clean that looks. But the flavor, it's very deceiving in that crispness. Well, it's got that rose kind of maybe blonde, like well, I guess blonde color to it, but it's a little darker than you would a normal like light lager. But it almost could be there. But the flavor is something different. This flavor, it brings it up to another level. So I think that's where this is shining. Yeah, the mouthfeel, it's a little heavier than you would expect, and but it sits on the tongue very nice. It's not overly heavy like one of those stouts or a milk stout or something. It lets you know it's there, but also ends up giving to some very fruity herbal notes. And that's kind of what I like, is those fruity and herbal notes. And whew, yeah, I would say the mouthfeel is probably a 4. So we're gonna go 4 mouthfeel. It's not bad, but it's not the best beer that sits in your tongue. Nice, like out of this kind of beer, this is probably what you're gonna get, is something like this. So, but it could work a little bit better, and it's good though. So the idea is about average is a 3, and better than average is a 4, and the best is a 5. So I give this a 4. This is a better than average mouthfeel. Now with the taste, I would consider this another 4. Easily drinkable, easily relaxed, and you can sit back and kind of drink 1 or 2 of these. You wouldn't be able to knock a lot back because it does still feel that little bit of heaviness on you. But I would consider this one to be a taste is right there as well with a 4. So moving along, I've been wanting to do this since I brewed my beer, is pair it with a Leffe. So I found a Leffe at the store, so I went ahead and I'm gonna pair it. So this is the fun part. All right. So this is actually a little bit less heavy than this one. Ooh, flavors, yeah, it's good. So this one's for sure less heavy, which is interesting. Which, as you can tell from both the beers, this one looks like it would be heavier. But this one has a little bit more of the flavors going on. The fruit notes are very accentuated. It almost pops more. And I know why. I don't know how they brewed this one. Leffe can reach out to me and ask me or and tell me. But as from what I know, Leffe is they don't necessarily put any spices or fruits in them. It has notes of vanilla and cloves. So I get cloves from both of these. And this one just has more fruit. And I would, all right, so mouthfeel, I would have to give this a 4. I would think this is a better mouthfeel than this one, but it's not substantially better. It's not like this has the best mouthfeel. So this would be a 4. Panthera Blond, WestKoning Panthera Blond gets a 4. And then taste. I would consider that an above average tasting beer. You definitely have the clovey notes at the end, paired with not bittering from hops, but more the citrus. It's like a citrusy note at the end, and I think it's a wonderful beer. I'll go ahead. Is this the best beer I've ever brewed? I would consider no, but I would say that this beer probably ranks. It's a good beer. I could drink this and buy this at a bar. So I'm probably gonna give this a 4 for taste. I think that's the overwhelming. Yeah, it's a little bit more. It's a little bit more intense. So whereas this one's a little subtle, a little bit more subtle in the taste department. This one's got a little bit more overt notes. Very, very. Yeah, and it follows all the way through. Full bodied, great tasting. The only place I think that, and it shows right here, the only place that this edges out is in the color. Now, I brew this in my own apartment. As you can see, the WestKoning Brew House, right here, right amongst all of us. But I would say that this It's not the same, but it's not worse either. So I would give this. So overall, this. Let's go with the first one, the Belgian Blonde. Try one more swig, of course. Overly clove, so that's very much clove. And then you feel like it lingers, but it's not as potent at the end. So it has that lingering quality, but not necessarily, I mean, it's not bad. And then it kind of just drifts away. You still have a little bit of that spiciness in there, but for the most part, it's smooth, it's vanilla-y. Overall, I would give this beer, for a Belgian blonde ale, I would give this, I'm torn between 3.5 and 4. And it's tough. Because, I mean, I gave it only a 1-3. So it is, the idea of overall is just drinkability at a bar. I could have multiple pints of this. But, once again, with the idea of, so I do a 5-point scale for the majority of, from the first 4 categories. When it comes to overall, it turns into a 10 scale from 1 to 5. So that means there's points, so you can do half points. So I want to do a 3.5 for this, just because I can sit, now that's a 4. That's a good quality crafted beer. So I'm going to give that an overall 4. Now, let's go overall. So I think the main thing to take away from this is this one just is a little bit sharper. This one's soft. This one's sharper in the sense that it's got key flavors you can pick out that linger around, and they're very good flavors. But this one's a nice, well-crafted beer, but mine's still, I think, rough around the edges. And so I'm trying to scuttle those corners and kind of, if you are into IPAs, I think you would prefer this. It's not that it's bitter with hops. I think it's more on the side of a little bit of that tang from it, like an orange. I can tell you, put orange peels in this. But that is where this one shines. But I think I might need to regulate that a little bit more. But they are both wonderful beers. They're both very delightful. And see, I still enjoy it. I'm reluctant to give that a 4 because I think it is right on par, and the flavors do match well. But in the end, I would say I'd have to go with a 3.5 for my Panthera. So overall, Belgian Blonde edges out my Panthera. It's interesting. So this is so the fun part about this is exactly what I wanted to something very similar in the taste notes, and I think I got it. I think I got it very close. So that means maybe tweaks to the grain bill. That means maybe cut. I think key thing is cutting back on my orange peel, but long story short, I think I nailed a good quality Belgian blonde ale, and that's what's exciting. Is I came in this started brewing to try to mimic these Belgian style beers because they're some of my favorite, and it's cool to actually be able to make a craft that like this enables me to be able to brew some of the better beers in the world. So on that note, here from the WestKoning Tasting Couch, I'm gonna sign off with have a great. Well, I don't even know. Drink good beers with good people. Cheers. That's a good beer. Oh, geez, that's gonna be bad.